So the story so far, what's changed for our customers, people, and what's next is the theme of this session. And joining us, we've got Charlotte Costa, Director of Marketing at Sitecool. We've got Peter Graham, Chairman and CEO of Cudo Insurance. And we've got Karen Hausago, Head of Insurance at Consumer Intelligence. So we think we've got all bases covered. We will soon find out. So a disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed during the following webinar are those of the individual contributors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the contributor's employer, organisation, committee, or other group or individual. Please respect any all contributions and we encourage you to join the conversation by the interactive functions available. And of course, this all leads into our ClaimsTech Live 2022. Show me happy customers and the money, which is the theme, 15th of September. Of course, a huge thank you to our ClaimsTech 2022 sponsors, headline sponsor Sitecool, gold sponsors CoreLogic, Digilog, LexisNexis and Verisk, and silver sponsors Solera Audatex and Synergy. Fabulous. Welcome along, everybody. And as I say, once again, thank you so much to everybody for joining us. So we will have a little bounce around, shall we? Peter, how is the world treating you first, if I may ask?
Yes, pretty good. Unfortunately, not a 3-day working week this week, but yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable, pretty cool. I'm working very hard, but enjoying it. Happy days.
Fabulous. And obviously, we will hopefully find out a little bit more about Cudo Insurance during the course of this session. Charlotte, based in Birmingham today, I believe.
Yes, I am. Yeah. So, for those of you that don't know Sitecool, we don't just work within the insurance sector. So I'm actually at a manufacturing expo this week in Birmingham. So yeah, that's why I'm in a hotel room right now.
Fabulous. And Karen, hot off the back of a birthday yesterday. Welcome along. Thank you very much for joining us. How's the world treating you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad. Thank you. Year older, but yeah, we don't talk about it now.
No, we don't. We get to a point where we don't bother counting anymore, don't we? So on we go. So
not that far yet.
Yeah, sorry, I was dragging you down with me. All right, so we're going to talk customers first, and this is obviously your kind of sweet spot, Karen, and real world examples from Peter and Charlotte, I'm sure. But let's launch our first poll too, so to get people involved. So customers, what's the benefits of ClaimsTech for customers? As you can see on the screen there, we've got accessibility, choice, familiarity, simplicity, speed, or other. We'll leave that running. But if I may, Karen, I will come across to you in the first instance. You know all about customers. So if you can, how is ClaimsTech making claimants' lives better? And where do you think the most positive benefits have been felt for customers so far?
I think for me, claims technology is about offering choice. I think you see, if you think about the insurance customer journey, you've got the initial purchase, and the vast majority of people will do that online now. You still have, depending your type of customer and your type of insurer, you'll still have kind of 15, 20% who want to pick up the phone and actually discuss that purchase, but actually they're very used to that kind of technology. What they're less used to is it's at a claim stage. And actually, I think it really, really depends on the type of the claim. So for something that's quite straightforward, that, something that's been broken in your house, your TV's been broken, let's say, I would be quite comfortable using an app. I would want to have been encouraged to have downloaded it in advance, but I'd be quite happy kind of making my claim. I'd want to take photos of anything that's kind of damaged or missing. And we know we've done polls recently around this, and 55% of people are really keen to use technology for things like taking photos. And the reason for that is they then don't need a loss adjuster in their house. So it kind of removes that barrier. I think the question comes when it's a more serious claim. So I've crashed my car, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Do I want to be downloading an app? Do I want the security of actually talking to people? Yeah, I do. And we've seen that in the data we've done. So people actually prefer using live chat when it comes to a claim in terms of kind of keeping up to date in that communication. But at the point of actual claim, they're stressed, they just want to pick up the phone. And it was 60% of customers, they just want to talk to someone. The next most popular way of talking to somebody, 15% is live chat. It's a massive, massive difference. So I think claims technology is coming a long way, but we need to remember the customer needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that has been influenced by recent times? Has it been accelerated? Are we all now really familiar with kind of, communicating like we are today, for example? Has that had an impact, you think, in terms of the adoption of ClaimsTech and the acceptance of it as well?
It's difficult for me to answer from a customer point of view. I think it's been a weird time, isn't it? And people's views have changed, but a claim is still, for most people, a stressful time. And I think that was true 3 years ago, and it's true now. And again, I think it depends on the nature of the claim. I think what's great is there's more options. And we need to think about the types of customers. So again, back to kind of when they purchase, those people who have purchased through, a PCW, they've done it all online. Are they more comfortable than using that kind of technology and app or going online to actually claim? I don't know if that has changed over time. It feels to me like it probably hasn't, because I think when you're anxious, you would still want to pick up the phone, whether that's 3 years ago or whether that's now.
Yeah, very, very interesting point, Sarah. And Peter, I'll kind of bring that across to yourself, if I may, in terms of a real world environment. And you've been around insurance, for a while in many different guises now. With Kudo, is it that offering? Is it that choice for the customer that kind of makes the difference? And is it, as Karen says, certain customer requirements meet certain, needs, if you like, at certain times?
I think it is. I think choice is absolutely key in solving the issue of bringing about technology solutions for customers. But I think we've also got to change our mindset as an industry. I think we would publicly say that we are all about the customer, providing great service, being there where they need them. But I don't remember a business case ever getting justified on that basis. We as the insurers are always looking at the loss ratio, the expense ratio, and trying to deliver something that benefits us, with the hope that there might be some benefit for the customers too. But I think if we changed our mindset and actually looked at everything from a consumer's perspective, we'd end up saving ourselves a lot of money and a lot of expense at the same time. My experience has been that we the industry generate inquiries for customers about what's happening with their claim. We don't do enough to proactively advise them as to what's happening and make it easier for them. Now, I would say this, of course, wouldn't I, given that Kudo is an app-based insurance business. But I fully accept that in some cases people will want to talk to us rather than using an app. But our approach is to kind of make things easy for people where they are living their lives. Let's all be honest, if we ever leave the home without our mobile phone, we're bereft. Most of the time we go back and get it because, life won't be the same if we haven't got our mobile with us. So our approach is very much around using technology to deliver on a platform that consumers like to use, but at the same time, offering them choice at moments of distress. We don't call ourselves an emergency service, but in lots of ways, if a claim's happened, we are like a fifth emergency service. That moment in someone's life can be hugely stressful, worrying, and of great concern. And I think we should be doing more as an industry to empathize with that and be there for them in that hour of need. And essentially, if we do that, we'll end up saving ourselves a lot of money as a result.
Interesting to flip it on its head like that. And obviously that comes with, I suppose, as a business, inherent risk of, yes, we're obviously looking to satisfy the customer, which is kind of a different approach, as you said at the outset, slightly different to what happens today, if you like. And that's that's a challenge, I suppose, to get that mindset around things. Charlotte, then from a product perspective, you guys are doing some fantastic stuff there. And as I said, I've been on the website this morning looking at the claims video, which is really developing since we last saw it at ClaimsTech Live last year. But again, where is that kind of the benefits are being felt? And you said, obviously, it's not just within the insurance and claims world. You're at a manufacturing conference today, for example. So how is it kind of being received, and where are the benefits being felt for your customers at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So the work that we're doing within insurance and the benefits for policyholders, it's all about, streamlining that process and speeding up the time it takes to settle a claim. And we're doing that really through using live video interactions during the claims process. So it's all about being able to get eyes on a policyholder's issues immediately through live video, so you can assess any damage in real time, whether that's a leak in your home or, a car collision. And it's really allowed our insurance customers to expedite their response to policyholders in their time of need. So going back to what Peter was saying just then, and anything that is going to solve customer issues faster is going to help, drive satisfaction and loyalty. So from the customer side, that's the benefits that we're seeing, that, expedited response to issues, getting, claims cycles, shortening that claim cycle so a customer can get the money in their bank so they can fix the issue themselves, or whether they're going, pushing it through to the fulfillment phase and getting the repair done that way. It's all about speeding up that process. But obviously on the, insurer side of things, and as Peter said, talking about the loss ratio and the expense ratio, it's really making more efficient use of the insurer's resources. And using their resources in the right way. Sending an adjuster out for a policyholder's home is not always needed, as Karen mentioned. And using technology like visual assistants can really help free up that expert resource for higher value claims. And there's obviously real benefits in terms of reducing travel, reducing that time it takes when you're sending adjusters out to a policyholder's home. And it also goes back to that choice. People don't always want an adjuster coming out to their home. They want to do things themselves. And this is where we're moving into this more of, touchless claims process, and more self-serve model, where we're combining, self-guided and human-guided support during the claims process. So it's giving customers the choice around how they want to interact with their insurance provider.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Right. So let's just have a little look at the results. So benefits to customers of ClaimsTech. And I think we've touched upon many of these points. Interestingly, speed. So speed of settlement, arguably speed of claim processing, tops the poll, along with simplicity, accessibility, and then we've got choice in there as well. Familiarity a little bit lower than perhaps we might have expected, but certainly all familiar with, as you say, mobile phones, the way we operate, and instant communication these days. So we've talked about where we're currently at and the benefits that claims technology has already provided customers, and that's obviously ongoing and that's evolving. But where are the sort of game-changing customer benefits to be felt next, do we think? Peter, I'll jump to you on that one, if I may.
Well, for me, there's one particular area that just gets forgotten all the time, and this is going to be somewhat controversial, given I'm speaking to a group that loves claims. But what do we actually do to prevent claims happening in the first place? Very little, very, very little. We, as insurers, come up with some whizzy, sophisticated pricing and risk selection mechanism that we convince ourselves is going to reduce the frequency of claims. But all too often I hear the comments in the industry of frequency is frequency. You can't do anything about it. It's going to happen. You just got to hope that when a claim is reported, it's a non-fault, and therefore you're not going to be on the hook for the expenditure. Personally, I believe this is utter rubbish. We should be doing a hell of a lot more to reduce the frequency of claims. Of course, I'm an advocate of mobile telemetry. That's the Kudo model. That's what we're doing. We're using technology to educate people about their driving behavior, their habits, with a view to improving their driving and therefore reducing the frequency of accidents. So what greater benefit could we deliver for a consumer than actually preventing them having an accident in the first place, rather than them going through the stress and the agony of actually that event occurring? So as a safe driver only insurance business, we are all about trying to improve the safety of drivers on Britain's roads, getting rid of, or reducing anyway, the incidents of people using their mobile phone while driving. You know, we know it's the single biggest peril these days. Speeding, you know, another major contributor of accidents. So I think, again, a bit like changing our mindset and getting into the mind of the consumer, if we actually attack frequency, then the issues that the motor insurance industry is experiencing at the moment around claims inflation and everything else will be lessened, because even with the best will in the world, we as claims handlers, managers or whatever cannot manufacture car parts to solve the supply chain issues. There are certain things we cannot manage, we cannot control, but surely we could be doing something about reducing the incidence of claims in the first place. We have huge amounts of data on collisions, accidents, severity of accidents. But what do we do as an industry to actually publicize that, raise awareness of road safety issues? Nothing. We do very, very little. And I think it's just a massive missed opportunity.
Very interesting thought to move into that sort of proactive rather than reactive world. And you'll be pleased to know we've still held an audience figures, which is good, right, Peter? You haven't upset too many people with that comment. But Karen, I'd come to you on kind of this one. You know, customer benefits from whether it be what consumer intelligence currently sees from the insurance side of the world or other industries that you're looking at. What benefits are being felt perhaps in the wider world from digital engagement or technology with customers?
I think what the most important thing really is customer satisfaction, isn't it? And you're never going to get somebody feeding back, oh, what made you really, why were you so highly satisfied because of the technology? They're just not going to say it. The things that they're bothered about is really good communication, speed of resolution, and technology can absolutely support that. And I think it's the ones that do it well that are going to get the higher claim satisfaction and the loyalty, as Charlotte mentioned earlier. I think for me, there's more insurers could do at point of sale because they purchase their policy. Only 1 in 10 people roughly will claim. But we're not really given that much information up front as a customer beyond a kind of little card gets sent to you to put in your wallet just in case something happens. So I'd like to see more support for customers early on in the journey so it doesn't get to that claim actually happening in that anxious moment. They feel prepared, whether it's downloading an app or knowing what their choices are, or it's a hotline, or this is a special live chat link, whatever it may be. I think there needs to be more awareness and more support through that kind of customer life cycle so it doesn't become such a stressful moment when it happens. And I think if people can get that right and get the foundations laid early on, that's going to lead to a higher customer satisfaction.
Absolutely. Comes across nicely to you there, Charlotte, in terms of product development. Again, where do you kind of set your sights in terms of how products evolve and satisfying that customer demand really?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I briefly touched on in my last answer, but it's this, touchless claims processing and something, more of a self-serve model where we're combining self-guided and human-guided support during the claims process. So it's a little bit more of a path to greater automation in claims to drive efficiency. So this is, about taking policyholders through, consistent processes during maybe the FNOL that delivers them simple and seamless an experience and instructions. It's about guiding the customer through the process to settle a claim faster and removing some of those lengthy in-person interactions that can happen during the claims process. Not everyone likes to speak to another person during, certain interact. I know I'd prefer just to be able to do everything online digitally without having another human to interact with. It's just how I am. And I think I saw a stat the other day that 80% of consumers are willing to use digital or remote contact channels. It's all about, digitizing processes. So an FNOL, allowing the customer to input all of the information that's needed around a claim, allowing them to include pictures and videos that they're uploading themselves. But if they do get stuck, they have that option to escalate to a video session with an expert so they can get that human interaction if they need it. Or if they don't need it, the information can get sent through to an adjuster who can, look at it, make sure that everything is there that they need. And if they do need to initiate something like a live video session, they can gather additional information to satisfy that claim. But it's really about, empowering that customer to do that. Effectively file a claim sometimes without even having to speak to another human. So this is what we're really pushing at the moment. It's not just good for the customer, it's giving them the experience that they want, but it goes back to that effective use of resource on the insurer's side. Huge improvements in efficiency, cost reductions, reducing travel to a policyholder's home. But we're not just seeing this in using an FNOL. This kind of self-serve model can be used during underwriting inspections, during the fulfillment phase when repair work is being carried out and potentially needs inspecting and signing off, or even during the initial sales process with the customer as well. So we're really seeing this self-serve digitized process use case being used in various different use cases, giving that hybrid experience that works for the customers but saves the insurer time and money as well. And we're really seeing this, it's slowly being used now by our insurance customers and other customers in different verticals. But it's all about, making happy customers, but also saving you costs as well from the insurance side and thing.
Lovely link back there as well to the happy customers. And as I say, having seen the video and checked out, the site call stuff today, it's interesting how, the jigsaw is now piecing together from that kind of front end piece, the underwriting process, all the way through to that settlement of claim. Mm-hmm. That kind of digital journey is tying together very nicely. So we'll have another poll. So we'll just fire this up. We're going to bring things in-house now. So we're talking about in-house teams. So has technology changed the skill sets requirements within business? Yes, no, or not sure. It should be on your screen now. We'll see what people come up with. But great people. We're kind of, post-pandemic. I think there's a huge awareness of valuable people and the need for great people in businesses, more so than perhaps there has ever been. Has the role that people play in the claims process changed markedly? And do you see this changing further with kind of the advent of, more claims tech coming to the fore? Peter, one for you perhaps to kick us off with.
I hope not, but then again, I hope it does. So a bit conflicting there. I think we underestimate the professionalism of people that handle claims within our industry. Insurance has a reputation outside of the industry of being a bit boring, but I've never sat in any of the senior positions I have and thought everything's going so swimmingly, the volume's coming in on plan, claims frequencies are right on budget, look, I might as well kick back and have a gin and tonic. It just doesn't happen. Insurance is a very dynamic industry. Something's changing all the time, and you've got to be fleet of foot to survive. The experience, knowledge, professionalism of how claims are handled and settled, I think is an absolutely fundamental part of our business. And so, when I say I hope not, what I mean by that is that the interaction with our customers, I think, should always be carried out by a human in some way, shape or form. Personally, I don't like robot responses to questions and things like that. Every consumer can figure out that's exactly what it is and has some skepticism about it. But then again, when I say I hope so, the technology should be assisting those people that are bringing the human element to the customer interaction, making that interaction more current, quicker, more accurate, and educating the consumer as to what is actually happening and putting their mind at rest. So I think there always should be a place for the human in handling claims and settling claims. Technology is an enabler and assistance to that process. But I think if we lost our human face, it would be a very, very sad day for the industry.
Karen, I can see you nodding in agreement there. So we'll come to you on that one in terms of what you guys sort of see and hear from your side.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite refreshing to hear, to be honest. I think from now I'm kind of looking into the insurance industry, having previously been in a direct insurer for many, many years. It's interesting seeing the industry from a very different view. And I think from a ClaimsTech point of view, it feels like potentially it could be more about cost saving than being customer centric. But listening to what Charlotte's saying and to what Peter's just saying, I think it's really refreshing that the customer is still at the heart of the decision-making process. And I love that technology is available, but actually, if I get to the point I just want to talk to somebody, that is still possible. So the technology as it's evolving is still allowing for that human interaction where it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a little look at the results. Technology changes people's skill sets requirements within the business. Yes. So 90% with yes, 10% with no. Charlotte, your thoughts on kind of that dynamic and what you see from your sort of, product innovation side and who you work with, your partners?
Yeah. So I think it's really true. You're always going to need great people within your organization who have the right skills to do the job so that there is that human element. I think from the technology side of things, we're really seeing our technology revitalizing the role of the agent, the adjuster, whoever that expert is. It can automate and take out some of the more tedious, repetitive parts of their job that they don't always like doing and can be time consuming. So if you think about, if you are on the phone to a policyholder, they're trying to find, their policy details, you need to input their address. A lot of that can now be put onto the policyholder to do ahead of speaking to a human. So they can input that data and information themselves. So that when they do actually get to that human interaction, the expert, the adjuster, the agent, they can actually get to the parts of their job that they love to do, where their skills can, be used in the right way. So we're already seeing that revitalization of their role and the job that they're doing. And the technology, like Karen said, is more of an enabler, helping them to do their job more effectively.
Is there a case in this? I mean, kind of Peter, from your experience again, what comes first? Is it the people having the structure in place, strip everything back? Is it having the right people in place, or is it having the technology in place first and then the people to back that up? Is there one or the other kind of thing? It's
got to be people first, and there aren't enough good people, inverted commas, there, good people around. Finding skilled, experienced, knowledgeable staff is not easy. And it doesn't matter which discipline you're talking about. Finding people to join your business is always difficult. So from my perspective, it's got to be about the people first. As I say, technology is an enabler. It can improve efficiency, it can speed up things, but we do need to be taking a holistic view of the whole overall process, because if various deployments of technology are not joined up, I think we probably end up creating a worse problem for the individuals that are actually speaking to customers, settling the claims, in that the information isn't at their fingertips. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to look at things on a compartmentalized basis. We kind of think, right, we can save a little bit of money there by implementing this, but actually you create another problem. Well, that means that so-and-so has got to then go into another system to get this bit of information. Whereas if it had been purely a human in the first place, they probably would have been across each and every aspect of handling a claim. So you just be careful and be conscious of the outcome that you might be bringing about, sort of unintended consequences, if you like, by looking at too narrow an aspect of the overall claims process.
There's a question come in regarding our conversation around apps. So telematics type insurance, absolutely, you need the app in certain instances on the phone. But this person's just saying insurance apps, let's face it, aren't the most interesting type of apps. How could insurers make these more attractive for customers to possibly download? Any thoughts on that, Peter? To kick off with?
You're playing right into my hands here. This is great territory. happy days. Well, look, our app, in our advertising and marketing for Kudo, we don't say anything about insurance at all. Kudo is positioned as a safe driving app and an app that provides rewards for people for driving safely. So you can download the app today, earn Kudo coins for driving safely, and then exchange those Kudo coins for vouchers, entries into prize draws, and you never ever buy a policy from us. Now, if you do buy a policy from us, you have enhanced chances of winning prizes, and the voucher rewards are improved and everything else. But we don't talk about insurance. So that's the way that we've proved to successfully get people onto our app. Now, of course, we do need to turn them into customers at some point, and we do that by introducing the insurance aspect, the ease with which it is to get a quote. You know, you're only answering or doing 4 things rather than answering 40 questions like you do on a price comparison website. So we're turning the whole insurance model on our head. The rest of the insurance industry is absolutely obsessed by renewal dates. And they see there's only one opportunity a year to talk to a customer. Through my experience, I've recognized coming to the market with an insurer that does that is just going to fail. So we've turned it on our head. And our proposition, as I say, is forget about insurance. Just come onto the app whenever your insurance is reduced, nothing to do with insurance. Just drive, be rewarded for driving safely. And because you prove yourself to be a better driver, you'll get a cheaper insurance premium. So the short answer to the question is, how do you get people interested in an insurance app, is build an app that's nothing to do with insurance.
Well, there's a solid answer. And Karen, I'll come to you on that. So that kind of interaction, I'll use the term gamification, that's the way to a kind of consumer's heart. Is that fair to sort of say?
I think listening to what Peter said, it's you can argue that it's definitely easier is maybe not the right word, but for these new companies that have come onto the market with all these new products and stuff, they are building a product and a service around customer needs now. And I think when you look at the larger established insurers, your DLGs, your kind of Hastings, your LVs, they have these huge customer bases who are used to doing things in a certain way, and they are not built to be able to respond quickly to the market and these kind of changing needs in terms of claims technology. Don't get me wrong, they're still doing it and they're very customer centric, but I just think it's a lot harder. So I think for the new startups that can look at what's out there and have that in mind from the very, very beginning, I think they've probably got a bit of a step up towards that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to have a little talk around supply chain. So how this kind of all impacts, we've talked about the customer, we've talked about kind of in-house of organizations. So relationships with supply chains and the impact that, claims technology or technology as a whole is having across there, really. Is there anything that's working particularly well with suppliers? Now, Charlotte, you're well within your rights to say cycle. But, and again, what kind of feedback do you get from those using, your product, and what's the sort of sense in the market?
Yeah, it's a good question. So from the supplier side of things and on the insurer side of things, there's a number of different benefits. Obviously, the cost benefits, the knowledge sharing benefits, better data capture. We're seeing that a lot with suppliers. Helping to reduce fraud, reduce supplemental claims. When it comes to reducing fraud and using our product, we have things like geolocate, so we can verify customer location when they're making a home claim, for example. So that's helping there. But it's really about cost savings, making processes more efficient. Improving training for newer people that are coming into the business, because all sessions using our technology are saved and pushed back into your claims management system or your CRM. So all of this can get looked back on, and the information and the interactions between the customer and the insurer are saved and can be used for training or for audit purposes. But it's really on the supplier and insurer side of things that time, cost, and knowledge savings from using our technology that they're seeing the benefits of.
And do you have any kind of examples, whether that be from within the industry that we sit here and speak of, or externally? We know you're involved in various other sectors, but where this claims technology or technology as a whole is really sort of coming to fruition, and real world examples.
Yeah, sure. So I can definitely give insurance examples, but maybe it's nice to have an example from a different industry, just so we can learn from others. And when it comes to improving processes, making things more efficient. The work that we're doing within oil and gas is quite interesting. They're generally a very paper process kind of industry, and we're helping to digitize those processes to really help drive auditability, improve that data capture, and ultimately improve safety. So we work with an oil and gas company who, were using paper processes for their engineers on oil rigs. And people were losing paper. They were not following the right processes correctly, which was having, impact on them being able to invoice customers for work that were being done. And it was causing accidents as well. So we're really helping them to digitize those processes. So their engineers who are out on oil rigs that are, dangerous places to work, they're following the right processes. Everything is tracked. All the data is pushed back into their CRM for, training purposes and auditing purposes. But it's really improving those safety aspects as well, which I think is something that we're really seeing within oil and gas and utilities. But overall, when people are using our technology, whatever sector they're from, it's about that efficiency, that productivity, and those cost savings and the benefits there, particularly around reducing sending unnecessary support out into the field. And we're now seeing a lot of this, benefits around sustainability, which I think is interesting. Obviously it's something that's key within insurance at the moment. And I think the insurance industry is probably, steps ahead in terms of sustainability and thinking about that. But we're helping our customers track key sustainability metrics now within our platform. So they understand the cost savings, the travel time savings, the CO2 savings from not sending experts out into the field, not sending an adjuster out to a policyholder's home. So they can track that, and that can all be, incorporate into their overall business sustainability KPIs, which I think is an exciting part of what we're doing, and something that is good on the insurer side of things, but also from a policyholder. People like to know that they're doing business with companies that are operating more sustainably, and that have that kind of focus. So we're seeing that a lot. So I kind of went off on a tangent, but I hope that was interesting.
No, but hey, I think that, that bringing that sort of sustainability conversation to the fore is very important. And Karen, I'll come to you on this one if I may, but increasingly that's, in the consumer awareness in terms of, who I buy from, who I partner with, and what I desire from a product, I suppose.
So we've not asked customers specifically about that, but we are obviously seeing more and more insurers looking at that. So we've got, is it Aviva Zero, I think it is. There are more products coming into the market. How well they're doing, I don't know. And I think I'd be really interested to do some customer research on that, just to understand, is it just that it's kind of makes them feel better that they are contributing to kind of the environment? Is that why they would buy it? Or are they still looking at brand, at price, at what's included in the product? Do I trust this company to catch me if I fall, if I need to make a claim? So I can't answer on behalf of customers because I've not done the research, but I think it would be an interesting area. How important is it in the decision-making process? Because I think those three things, the cost, the price, and the product are way, way higher.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. There we go. Well, a new bit of research then coming up, I would imagine. Right, let's just skip across to our final poll for the day. So, innovation. So what areas of claims management do you feel can benefit most from technology? We've got first notification of loss, we've got triage with customer communication, supply chain management, resolution, and settlement. Peter, I'll come across to you if I may. So on this kind of stuff, what's the smart stuff happening in the industry at the moment? And you can't say Cudo, but where are the areas that kind of ClaimsTech is having an influence that maybe we didn't kind of initially think that it would? Where's your thoughts there?
All right, I'll try and steer clear of mobile telemetry and Cudo then. I think something that we're doing is this is with our claims partner innovation group, is to bring the various pieces of information and work streams that are going on in claims handling together. And I think that is, the aim there is for us to enable a claims handler to talk to a customer about any single aspect of their claim. At the moment, you'll quite often the case of one individual cannot answer every single question for a customer in terms of status of their claim, the repair aspect, the car hire aspect, whatever it may be. They can't answer all of those questions, and they have to get someone else to call them back or something like that. So one of the things that we've tried to do is to, and I give a lot of credit for Innovation Group and the investment they've made in this aspect, is bringing that all together. So that, that single point of contact can actually answer all aspects. I think that's delivering great customer service, and I think it will deliver savings from our perspective at the same time. So for me, it's about, again, enabling technology to bring things together, a single point of truth, if you like, on every aspect of handling a claim.
Fabulous. Let's just have a little look at the poll to see where we are. So most influence could be seen by the looks of it. Where are we? 60% F0. Then we've got triage and customer communication, 57%. Supply chain, by the way, this was multiple answers. So supply chain management, 40. Settlement 37, some resolution. So plenty of opportunity there by the looks of it, for sure. So we start to round things up now a little bit, but where next is almost kind of the question. It's straight through processing. I think, Charlotte, you've kind of referenced it in terms of what you're building there at SiteCall from the very front end of things right through to the back end settlement. But do you think there will become, and I hasten to add this one because we've talked about people an awful lot here, but artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, the products themselves, i.e. specifically when we talk about vehicles, will it replace claims as a meaningful or sort of function, do we think they will ever get to that point where computers do it all from front to back? Charlotte, I can see you shaking your head.
Yeah, no. No, I think when, this comes up a lot when we talk about AI. We have certain AI integrations into our product, and at Cycle, our stance is very much that AI is not about replacing humans. It's about augmenting that end user. It's about, helping the policyholder or helping the expert adjuster, and it's not about replacing them. It's about giving them the right tools to be able to effectively and efficiently respond to a claim. We use things like live speech translations. That's a part of AI, that's a part of our platform. And that's clearly not there to replace humans. That's there to help them. So, we don't see it used as much in insurance, but, you could have an adjuster who speaks one language and a policyholder that speaks another. Using this technology, they can effectively communicate to, work their way through that claims process. We see this used more in kind of our manufacturing use cases, where you may have a field engineer on one side of the planet and then you need expert help on the other. But yeah, it's not about replacing people. It's about speeding up processes, adding to that toolkit that you have as an insurer, so that your people can do their jobs more, efficiently, quicker. And then that obviously translates into giving the policyholder a more quick and efficient experience. So that's kind of how we view AI at Cycle.
Great start. And Peter, does the same stand true from where you sit, where you see the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've probably covered this point in a couple of things I've said this morning. You're never going to get rid of the human aspect of this. Never should you. So I'm absolutely firm believer that you're talking to a customer here in one of the most stressful situations, and as the sooner, if we ever think that technology can handle that, we're missing the point altogether.
Interesting. And Karen, final word lies with you, and linking it all back to the customers, which is what this is all about ultimately. And we've spoken about that an awful lot today. But your kind of closing thoughts on ClaimsTech, people, the customer, how it all ties together.
So we have the research we have done recently. 75% of customers think there's more potential, and I mean that in a great way. There's potential in what claims technology can do to support them. I think it's really important to look at how. So I agree with everything that Peter and Charlotte said around it. You're never going to get rid of the humans. I think where the biggest change could be made is around that communication. I want to feel supported at the start when I'm making my claim, but actually it's really important you just keep communicating with me, whether that's you say it's going to be every other day, or you're going to say, I'm going to text you on Thursday. You want to know it's coming. You want to know when you're getting your next update. And it feels to me that is an area where customers can feel more supported, and potentially technology can help in that.
Fabulous. What a great way to round things out. So we've got happy customers. We've made savings in terms of financial. So we've ticked the two boxes there, haven't we? So show me happy customers and the money. There we go. So thank you so much for joining us today. Peter, Charlotte and Karen, really, really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. And of course, keep your eyes peeled for more ClaimsTech 2022 activity throughout the year, building towards September for our ClaimsTech live event. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Of course, a huge thank you to our ClaimsTech 2022 sponsors, headline sponsor Sitecore, gold sponsors CoreLogic, Digilog, LexisNexis and Verisk, and silver sponsors Solera Audatex and Synergy.